Good evening, everyone. This is the December 1st, 2020 Joliet City Council meeting with Mayor Bob Odekirk presiding, and the invocation will be held or said by Father Chris Grove from St. Mary Nativity, and he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance after the prayer.
Before I offer a prayer, I'd like to invite you to please join me in taking a moment of silence for one of our Joliet police officers who passed away this past week, Kevin Clendenning. Let us pray. Almighty God, we are so grateful for all that you do and for everything that you provide your people and for the many favors you bestow upon us. God of wisdom and justice, we ask your enlightenment to be upon all who are elected to serve in public office. Guide and support our mayor, the members of our city council, our city staff, our interim city manager. Give them strength to know your will so that all that they do may be done with a desire to please you in all things. God of comfort and healing, hear our prayers for all who are sick, especially those stricken with the COVID-19 virus. Guide them, guard them, grant them your care so that their health may be fully restored. We ask your strength upon our first responders who continue to assist all of those who are in need of their help. For all of our brothers and sisters here in Joliet, we ask that you may give them your protection and your guidance. We lift up these and all of our prayers and concerns to you, our eternal God and Father, forever and ever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
Before we move on, I believe the city manager has a few words this evening.
Actually, I would like to invite Kendall Jackson to the podium.
Is this it?
This is Kendall's last meeting as an employee for the city of Joliet.
Couldn't talk him into staying longer, huh?
What you see up on screen is Kendall's original employee ID card from November 1st, 1993. Mayor?
Thanks, Jim. Couple days of note. Kendall, first of all, personally, I want to thank you for your years of service. You've done a great job. I remember when you were promoted to department head, it was a proud moment for the city and for the city council members who supported you, which most of the people are here right now. So thank you for all you've done. Just of note, you were hired on November 1st, 1993. You were a planner one. That was a position you were hired to. In July of 2009, you were promoted to planning director. And then, of course, September 2016, you were promoted to as the director of community development. You filled the position left open by the retirement of Jim Haller and functioned as the city's primary community development officer and exercises either direct or functional control over such operations as planning, zoning, building permits, and neighborhood services. So great job, great career. Hope you enjoy your retirement. I have the original ID, so I'm gonna give it to you when you're done. But on behalf of the city council and the people of Joliet, thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I just
Mayor?
have one question for Kendall. Who am I gonna call, Kendall?
Jan, just send up the bat signal. I'll respond.
You take, thanks, Kendall, for all your help through the years and always taking my phone call and guiding us through the mucky waters with all the zoning and illegal renters and things like that. So thank you for everything, and I hope that that other thing gets taken care of because you worked hard on it, I know, as well. So thank you for everything, and good luck with you and your family, and please stay in good health.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Every day's Saturday.
Yes.
Kendall, it's been a real pleasure working with you. I've gotten to know you, especially since your promotion. We've worked together on a number of things. You're a man of high integrity. You're a family man, which is really what I like. And you did a hell of a job.
Thank you.
And I'm going to sorely miss you.
Thank you.
I'll be setting up a bat signal too.
Yes.
Kendall, I echo everything that's been said, and it's been a true pleasure to work with you. As you know, you worked with my daughter before me, and just a thrill to hear in her voice what a wonderful man you are, and then to get to meet you in person and see how wonderful you are. Enjoy your retirement. You deserve every moment.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kendall, just
Your
want
Honor, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead, Betty.
Kendall, I just want to say, you have been my wise man when I came on. I always go look for you, and I called you the wise man. So, Kendall, I want to thank you for all that you have done for this city. And I also want to thank you on behalf of a grateful city and said, we wish you well on your retirement. We also wish you and your family a great, great holiday and peace and blessings over your household as we go forward. So, Kendall, I see that you're retiring on my birthday. So that means I could call you on my birthday.
Yes.
And get some other information and some good advice.
Yes.
So, Kendall, thank you so much for everything. We love you, man.
Thank you.
Mike?
Kendall, I just want to thank you for all your hard work and your, you're a straight shooter. You give us the answers that we needed to hear. And you're a true gentleman and a man of high ethics and integrity and a very, very honest person. So I admire those qualities, and I wish you and your family a long, long, happy retirement.
Thank you.
Kendall, like everybody here, I echo their sentiments. You've done a great job. I haven't been on the council anywhere near as long as a number of people here that have worked with you, but everyone has always spoke very highly, and I appreciate, and I'm sure the citizens of Joliet appreciate everything you've done. If there's ever anything I or anybody else, I'm sure on the council, could do for you in the future, please give us a call. Good luck with retirement.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kendall, you know where I stand. Thank you for everything, man. You really been wonderful to me in helping me get through these years I've been here on the council, and just ditto to everything that's been said is definitely the truth. And good luck and God bless you, man, and your family. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kendall.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda this evening are appointments. First, the mayor is recommending the following appointments to the Historic Preservation Commission: Stephen Wright, Aaron McCadis, and Brian Bessler. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin,
Hey,
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Hi.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
I'm going to vote aye and just say that I don't really know Stephen or Aaron, but do know somewhat of Brian Bessler, who has a really Jolietan and who put together to help a lot of restaurants during this COVID time, and I think it's an excellent choice.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the appointment for councilman at large. The mayor is recommending Todd Wooten.
Mr. Wooten is here. If he could come in, address the council, and I think there's some questions for him. He'll be happy to answer. Come on in, Todd.
All right, hello. Am I allowed
You
to
take it
this
off.
off, so I don't sound like Charlie Brown's teacher? Okay, any kind of introduction or?
Yeah, if you,
All right.
yeah.
Hello, my name is Todd Wooten. I'm a retired fire captain, and I worked 21 years with the Joliet Fire Department. And I arrived in Joliet June 7th, 1986. And I've always felt in life, and this was even before coming to the Chicago area, that a quote by the great Gale Sayers was something to live by. And that's all I need is 18 inches of daylight. And I've always lived my life by that principle. All I need is 18 inches of daylight, just an opportunity. And every time I've been given an opportunity, I've exceeded expectations. Quite often, the way you present yourself, people develop an opinion. And what I'd like to say is the way that I've presented myself over the years is who I am. In my adult life, I'm a United States Marine, and it's just something that you can't get out of your system. And I'm also a combat veteran. And so quite often when you're blunt, people take it the wrong way. Or if you're passionate about something, they take it the wrong way. And I know there are a lot of things said about me, and I think there are mischaracterizations. If I stutter a little bit, it's because I didn't get much sleep last night, because some of those mischaracterizations were in the paper last night. But I think if we have an open discussion and I answer your questions and you assess them honestly, you'll see that a lot of things that have been said about me are maybe exaggerations. And so I'd like to open the floor for questions, please.
That's fine. Any questions? Yes.
So, Mr. Wooten, I guess I'd like to go back to July 7th of this past year. And you have some quotes that you sent out in an email to about 35 people. And if I can read from it, the Fire Police Board does not have confidence in the Chief of Police and do not believe or trust information he provides us. So as I read that, you're speaking for the whole Police Fire Board.
Sir, at that particular time, I was speaking for the entire Police and Fire Board, but there were members of the board that did not want their opinion to be made public. There are things that are discussed at the board that are done in confidence that I can't really get into. But there was another portion of that email that I'm willing to discuss, and that had to do with a town hall meeting that the mayor was at, and also the chief of police and his entire administration. And it was a town hall meeting in September of 2019 where the chief of police and the mayor were imploring people to come forward if they seen any wrongdoing, if they seen any suspects, if they seen anything that they felt was criminal behavior. And Chief Rochner was adamant about people coming forward. And then when there were people on his department who felt the same way, if they seen something and they felt the need to come forward, he had a different approach to it. Now, I wasn't questioning Chief Rochner's decision from a personal point of view. I didn't have an axe to grind. I questioned it from a leadership point of view. I mean, I've led men in combat, I've led men in prison riots, I've led men into burning buildings. And I think I've earned the right to question leadership, especially as a member of the Police and Fire Board, where we routinely promote people to leadership positions. And what you have quite often on the police department, or I shouldn't say quite often, but Joliet is unique in the fact that a man could become a sergeant, and then before you know it, he could become a deputy chief. And you're skipping over a lot of ranks, and well, you're skipping over a lot of people and a lot of experience in the process. And so I think we have a right to scrutinize people when it comes to leadership. And I scrutinized that mainly because I thought it sent the wrong message to the public and to his department. Because you can't tell the public that you want the public to come forward, you know, and then you do something like that and the public is saying, well, the Joliet Police Department, they don't look any different than the gangster disciples. They crack down on someone who comes forward or sees, you know, what they perceive as wrongdoing, and, you know, it looks like, you know, retaliation against a snitch. And so I felt that he was sending I felt that he was creating a bad example for his department, and I felt that he was creating a bad example for, the citizens as a whole that he had spoken to, and he implored them to come forward. But that's not personal. I mean, it was a question of, it was a difference of opinion when it comes to leadership. And like I said, we appoint people to leadership positions on a regular basis. And I felt that that was something that should be addressed. And quite frankly, I was shocked that I was the only person that brought it up. But there's nothing personal.
So the other quote about we as a board, we were speaking for the whole board here, do not believe or trust the information. Had you questioned the police chief on the information that was
I cannot
provided for you?
discuss, sir, I cannot discuss that information, but at least not in open session like this, but I could easily discuss it behind closed doors because there were some major discrepancies in the way that that information was presented. And I had, several police officers who were a part of that meeting come to me after that meeting and said that that's not the way that we seen it when we presented that when we put that package together and presented it to you. The way that it was presented to us by the chief of police, it was different. And so they had a problem with it as well. I can't discuss that here, but I would be glad to sit down with you anytime, sir.
So let's move a couple weeks later to July 14th, the Herald News article. At that time, the board chair, Mr. Landy, has resigned. And he pointed to comments that were recently made by a fellow commissioner about the police chief.
Yes, like I said, Chairman Landy agreed with all of those comments 100%. It's just that at that particular time, he did not want to come forward. And I didn't agree with him. So we had a difference of opinion. He had every right to resign. To me, I felt that it showed that our board had character and that we don't march in lockstep and that we're not pawns of the mayor.
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, I have the question.
Sure.
So do you stand by your statement that you don't have faith or confidence in the police chief?
There are certain things that the police chief has done that I think have shown poor leadership. I am privy to information that I cannot discuss. But as a councilman, and that's what is even more confusing to me, as a councilman, Chief Roachner's fate is not in my hands. It's in the city manager's hands. And I wish him luck in how he deals with it, but I'm trying to learn about North Point. I'm trying to learn about water. I mean, these are things, I'm trying to learn a new job. I've been doing homework for the last few days as well. And so it's another reason why I haven't gotten much sleep. But Chief Roachner is not a concern of mine.
Mayor, I called Mr. Wooten yesterday and we spoke at length, and I've never known him. I met him one time years ago when I first got on the council, but other than that, I didn't know him. But we talked for quite a bit, and he was very honest and forthright. He brought all these things forward to me that I did not know about, the controversy. And, we all have our differences of opinion. We've all been up here saying things, and we've all made mistakes. So I felt him to be honest and forthright, and it's only for a few months if he should get the position, and I felt that he'd be a good fit for right now.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Look, thank you. I'm glad, Mr. Wood, that you pointed out. I was thinking the same thing at the moment you just said it, that it is not our job to hire and fire the police chief. That is not the purvey of this council. And we all have different opinions on anybody who may work in administration, fire, police, sewer, water, whatever. We all have our different opinions. And we've certainly demonstrated that we do have different opinions on many topics. What I do find you to be is somebody I think that's pretty direct and straightforward, a straight shooter. That's kind of how I built my reputation. I got no problem with that. I got no problem whatsoever. I am interested in some of the background. You've served on the police and fire board for how many years, Mr. Wood?
5 years, sir.
I believe it was a unanimous vote that we took when we appointed him. How long were you in the Marines?
I was only in the Marines 4 years, but my 4 years was a very busy 4 years. And I served in one of the worst places of the 20th century, and that's Beirut, Lebanon of the early 80s. And I was part of the naval gunfire team that called in naval gunfire from the famed battleship, the USS New Jersey. And we pummeled the hills of Beirut, Lebanon in February of 1984. It's been, to date, the only response to the attack on the Marine barracks, October 23rd, 1983. I left Beirut, Lebanon in March of 1984. And just to give everybody an idea, because Beirut is one of those conflicts that's forgotten, but to refresh everybody's memory, I left Beirut in March of 1984. Father Lawrence Jinko was kidnapped in Beirut in January of 1985. So, and then, I mean, ironically, and that's why I've always, I'm not superstitious, but I do kind of believe in fate. I came, as I said, to Joliet in June of 1986, and as we know, Father Jinko was released that summer. And so it's like, man, this is home. This has got to be home, you know? And so, and it's been home ever since then. And then I was lucky enough to get hired by the Department of Corrections. I met my wife in prison, so we were both fellow correctional officers. We like to joke, you know, that we met in prison, and they're always like, oh,
I'm glad you corrected that.
But, you know, I was given another opportunity in 1990 by a very prominent businessman, probably one of the most prominent businessmen in the history of Joliet, the great Earl D'Amico. And he afforded me the opportunity to be his head of security. And I set up all the scheduling, all the bouncers and everybody for D'Amico's, which it's a banquet hall, but it used to get pretty rowdy because they had the Chippendales there. And of course, Earl's Cafe, right across the street from Al's Steakhouse, and the Great Sports Bar, which at that particular time was the #1 night spot in Joliet. And I was his head of security. And I know Earl gave me a great recommendation, which had a lot to do with me getting hired by the fire department. And that's just another example of that 18 inches of daylight that I asked for. Quite often, that's all you need is just a chance to show yourself and to prove yourself.
What would be your approach to making decisions up here, bridging us to May?
I tend to look at things, and quite often people take it the wrong way. They may say it's going rogue or whatever. I really don't care. I look at things in terms of the long view. I look at things in terms of how is it going to affect your overall legacy. And so I like to research projects, to the greatest detail and give it some thought, and then, go with whatever I feel, my convictions. But at the same time, I'm a team player. I don't understand how this whole thing where, I don't like the way that I'm being characterized. And like I said, because I speak direct, maybe people take it the wrong way. But I'm a team player and I get along. I like to learn the issues and I like to be well informed. A lot of these issues I have never commented on or anything because I only know what I've read in the paper. And I know you guys are privy to information that maybe is not put out in the news. And so I want to be fully informed on the issues. I want to contribute to a team. And I see no reason why, can't make some progress here. I've always gotten along wherever I've been. The only time I don't get along, if I disagree with somebody, I disagree. And if they say it's personal, well, that's their opinion. Quite often, the disagreement is because of the matter at hand. Now, if they take it personal, that's on them. I can't control that.
Are you currently passing petitions to run for election?
Absolutely not. I have no ambitions to run for office, even if I'm rejected here, because then I'd be running for office for the wrong reason, to get back at people or something. That's not who I am, and I don't like being characterized in that fashion.
Now, you did, mention the fact that you had served in a hot spot in Beirut, and, maybe that's behind you. You do understand if you're approved, you are joining the Joliet City Council. So...
Is that like going back in the Marines?
It might be.
Okay, well.
With all joking aside, what I do, and I appreciate the question that Councilman Mudgeon asked about the email. My takeaway from the email is when you have an opinion, and you were charged with judging the police force from top to bottom and bottom to top, that you put your name on it. You're not doing it from the weeds.
Absolutely.
You're not doing it anonymously. You're not a poster, on some social media. You put Mr. Wooten, Todd Wooten on that email, and that I can respect, even if I don't agree.
Thank you very much. I know there are people who said to Mayor Odekirk, because people have said it to me, like, are you sure you really want to put Todd Wooten, on the city council? He kind of does his own thing. He's not going to, and so, I kind of appreciate that, but at the same time, there's a lot of different ways that you can take that. But like I said, I'm a team player, but if I feel strongly about something, then I'm going to stick to my convictions. because it's whatever decisions we make, we're going to carry it.
Okay, thank you, man.
Anyone else?
Mayor,
I assume you follow the council,
go ahead.
you know, fairly closely
I wouldn't say I follow it closely because a lot of the matters that come before the council don't really concern the fire and police board. So I don't try to do multiple jobs or anything like that, and I'm sorry, I mean, I'll follow what's in the papers.
Well, we had some big subjects come by. I wonder, did you have an opinion when we removed Marty Shanahan as city manager?
No, I had no opinion on that. I mean, I got along great with Marty the times that he worked with the fire and police board. Marty helped us usher through some very important rules changes that I think increased diversity, while at the same time not giving people the feeling that, you know, oh, this demographic is getting a handout or this demographic. The changes that we made on the fire and police board in terms of hiring have benefited everybody, and I think you can see that fruit. I mean, finally, the Joliet Fire Department has females. Finally, the Joliet Fire Department has more than one Spanish-speaking firefighter. And I'm proud of those accomplishments, but also, I mean, it took the council to approve the changes that we made, and I thank the council as well.
Mike?
Mayor, my question, a couple of questions I have are kind of similar to Councilwoman Reardon's, but I didn't know that Todd was the nominee until Friday when I opened up my iPad and got the agenda. Otherwise, you know, if we had some, you know, we could have called him and asked questions during the week and things. So, and I didn't have any contact number. I suppose I could have tried to find it, but.
Well, you could have called my office.
Well, I thought maybe you would have put out something during the week and says, here's his number, contact these people, contact Todd and ask him any questions you want. So I think it was kind of.
You could have called my office.
I could have, I admit that, but
Okay.
you also could have sent out a memo, you know, a little bit earlier and told us his bio and his telephone number, you know. But, because I've met Todd before, I helped him on a project that he needed help with before. I have nothing against Todd, you know, personally, or so my vote, whatever it is not personal. So.
Any other questions, comments?
I have one. I don't know if it's to Todd, but I'm a little confused, and you all know I should probably stay confused, is what it does it, not to say that does it matter what a person's view is on an issue that's been in the past or that might be coming in the future. If it's Marty, if it's North Point, if it's Loves, do you support Loves? No, I'm just kidding. It's you know, do we want people? I mean, is it only to be on the council if you agree with what I agree with? That's kind of what I'm hearing.
Agreed.
You know, as opposed to, and I get it. I mean, if this guy or this lady that, you know, was, you know, going to be appointed to the council, is, you know, just, you know, for lack of a better word, just out there somewhere, you know, have some kind of issues, then that there should, you know, I guess we should step up and, you know, agree not to put that person on the council. But issues like, you know, I mentioned, I didn't think that that's what, you know, we should be here. I don't think so. And again, like I said, maybe I'm confused or wrong about that. But so that's what I, you know, kind of my statement or thought on what I've been hearing here over the last few minutes about some things. And some of the things I think, you know, should have been addressed to Todd, and I think he answered them to you know, to his best, probably his best his ability. And I don't know if that's sufficient for the, you know, for us or those that asked the question. But some of the things I just think were a little, you know, taken back. I've been here on the council, and I believe it was, you can help me, Larry or Bob, Jan, that's been here since I've been here. 2 people was appointed, or 3? 2?
3.
Who's the third?
Well, John Girl was appointed right before our election,
Before us, right.
right before
Just
that
before.
election.
Right.
There was no objection. I don't remember radio hosts saying that there should be.
I don't recall
No.
for Don
Fisher.
Fisher, you know, or Ms. Brewer, that this same type of environment took place. Not that it's wrong that we're doing it this way, but if this is the way that it's supposed to go. And it just, to me, I mean, I'm not saying we have to do things like we've done them in the past. Don't take me wrong for that, but I just feel kind of strange that, you know, the scrutinizing or the questioning about, you know, someone's, you know, feeling about past issues or even a future issue is to me was a little, I don't know, different, I guess, or, you know,
Yes.
that's all.
Councilman Morris, you're not confused.
I'm not, okay.
I could really care less what Mr. Wooten or anybody's personal or previous opinions are. There's an old saying, I'll clean it up a bit. Opinions are like armpits. Everybody has them, and most of them stink. I'm not worried about his opinions. The question I needed to ask, and I got his answer, and I think we all heard it, was how will you make decisions, not form opinions, make decisions moving forward. And I was satisfied with the process that he would put in. I believe in his integrity. I know a lot of Marines, and I don't know any Marine without integrity. That's all I can say.
There's few.
I haven't met him yet, Mr. Wooten.
I know a few, but
Okay.
I'm not gonna call them out.
Well, yeah, I'll add to that, and I agree. I don't think you're confused at all, Councilman. John Grow was appointed just prior to our election, and he served honorably on the city council. Don Fisher was appointed after we got elected. He took Mayor Girardi's seat. Betty Gavin was appointed when Councilwoman Barber stepped down, and Councilwoman Brooke Hernandez Brewer was appointed when Councilman McFarland stepped down. So, from my recollection, I don't ever remember the process being anything like this. I don't remember those types of questions being asked to any candidate. That includes you, Councilwoman Gavin, who I voted for. I don't remember, and it is a different time with politics and social media. It didn't exist back then. You're getting a taste of it, but
I'm standing up here being interviewed for an opportunity to sit on the Joliet City Council. I don't care what you ask me.
but to have a council person attack you in the newspaper and say that they were not going to vote for you, that just never happened since I've been here. Mike, you've been here a lot longer. Jan, I don't know where that's coming from or why anyone would think that's appropriate. But look, again, you're not a clone, and I don't think, again, your opinions about something that happened 2 years ago are really relevant. I agree with Councilman Hugg. What should be relevant is will you represent the people of Joliet? I believe you will. I know you as a man of integrity, a man who won't get pushed and is going to do what he believes is right. For that, for your service in the fire department, your service as a Marine, and your service in the police and fire board, that's why I chose you as a nominee. And I think you should be judged on those bases and not on a specific opinion about a specific employee or a former employee.
I don't mind scrutiny,
Okay.
but I appreciate the kind words.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Is there a motion to appoint Todd Wooten to?
Krista, one point before we go forward. There was a question raised in the media about filling this position. I know our corporation counsel's here. If she could come forward and address the council, so there's no confusion about what we're doing.
So the question is whether or not the position has to be filled. I know that came up yesterday. Pursuant to our ordinances as well as state statute, it does require us to fill the position. The terminology that's used, it says shall appoint and with advice and consent of council. So that does have to be, the seat does have to be filled at this point.
Yes,
In what time frame?
According to our ordinance, within 60 days.
Councilman Mudgeon.
I'd like to give something out. I just got this tonight, didn't get a chance to talk to Sabrina. But this is a counter
Thank you.
thought process from a Chicago law firm that disagrees with Sabrina's.
You might want to talk into the microphone, Councilman. I don't think anyone can hear you at home.
Hold on, till I get these done.
All right.
realize it's not fair to ask Sabrina for an answer on this since I just got this tonight. I asked her for her opinion, and she sent it to me, which she has said here today. Paraphrasing what is being said here, the firm is Klein, Thorpe, and Jenkins. The gentleman who I spoke with, that they assigned it to, does municipal work. That's a Kenneth Fricker. And in the bottom of the paragraph, in the first page, he says he's been advised to assume that the purpose of this opinion is that the city of Joliet has a referendum adopted by the city manager form of government, Article 5, such and such municipal code, in addition to the referendum of electing part of the city council at large, part of the district, stagger 4 years, which exactly what we are, this city manager form of government. Then he talks about some of the conflicts we have. Based on the above information and the assumptions, it is our opinion that a vacancy is to be filled by the remaining members of the council in the 60 days the vacancy occurs, balance of the unexpired time. This opinion is based on, he shows the sections and what he was referring to before. Therefore, under the above section, the remaining members of the city council are to fill the vacancy by appointment within 60 days after the vacancy occurs. The procedure is now followed, would be from a council person nominating and moving on such and such. If no nomination is received, the majority of the city council, the vacancy will remain unfilled until the April election. No conversation about after 2 nominees, the third one would be automatic. Although section 2-24 of the city code of ordinance provides for an appointment by the mayor with advice and consent of the city council of a person to fill the vacancy, in our opinion, the above cited section of the Illinois Municipal Code controls over the city ordinance. Otherwise, the city code provision removes the appointment power of the city council and sets section 5.2-12 by the municipal code gives the power to the mayor. This, in our opinion, is a change in the form of government which can only be accomplished in referendum mandated by. So I think, in my opinion, I need to give Sabrina some time to look at this, review it, and come back with an opinion.
Well, I think she can give you an answer, and I can, but go ahead, Sabrina.
Well, Councilman Mudron, and just to clarify, that your question to me earlier today was whether or not it had to be filled, based on the question that was brought up last night about waiting until the election. So that was what I had analyzed in the response that I had given, as well as this evening. It does need to be filled. Now, I am familiar with the sections that are cited in this opinion. I will do some further research. However, just so that everyone is aware, our ordinance does have 2 competing statutes, which are cited in this memo. And one does give the authority of the mayor to have two separate appointments with, if those are denied, then he gets to appoint somebody temporarily until there is somebody in place. And that other statute does say that the city council within 60 days will appoint someone upon approval. So, like I said, there are 2 competing statutes within our own ordinance. But I would, in order to answer the question from earlier, we do need to fill it. It's just a matter of when does that happen. If we're at a deadlock and nobody gets appointed until the election, then we're at the election, and that's when somebody gets appointed or gets elected.
So in this attorney's opinion, that the council also can bring names forward to be voted on?
I think that the statute, which is the second statute that's cited in our ordinance, does say that. Whether or not, like I said, it's inconsistent or it's competing, we have to determine which one applies to us.
Councilman Mudron, you're familiar with the fact that we're a home rule community?
Yes.
Do you know what that means?
That our rules would supersede the state ones, I assume.
Right, which contradicts what your downtown law firm is saying here. So I think it's...
Question, if I'm going to consider this document and this opinion in my deliberations moving forward, I need a little background. Where did it come from? Who are they? Never heard of this law firm, and how were they paid?
I paid for them. I called them, asked for an opinion.
And what's their specialty?
There are the gentleman who did this.
Are they here to answer
municipal
questions?
law.
Are they here to answer questions?
If you like them.
Well, no, I'm not going to delay.
Okay.
We have 8 active members of the council right now. Make no mistake that we're just inviting more ties. because the mayor is not restricted to vote only in a tie. He's restricted to vote only when his vote will affect the outcome.
I heard you last night.
So if we put aside the politics, Councilman Mudrin, what's best for the city, for the residents, is they have a full functioning council during these, that we're gonna make a lot of decisions long before we have the election. This does not impede or interfere with the election. The mayor did, which I was happy to see him do, did choose not to pick a favorite candidate who's running. They're out there running, starting their campaigns. They're gonna file on the 14th to the 21st. As a council, we need to we've shorted this community long enough without a final decision on city manager, without final decisions. I don't know how much, I don't know, I thought it was that we were sworn to serve, not delay. We have a candidate that has been done through past practices. There's some suspect as to whether this is accurate. I don't need to talk to them, but they're not here. Yeah, that would have been good to have them here. If you're going to use them as evidence, I can't they don't matter to me in my deliberations because they're not here to be questioned and maybe say, oh, wow, we weren't aware of your home rule status on this issue or that issue. My point is, why do you want to delay this?
I didn't say I wanted to delay it. There's another opinion out there. And Mr. Hug, you had mentioned that we're delaying the movement on hiring the city manager. Have you filled out your form to send back to the search group as yet?
Look, if you want to rehash, Councilman, if you want to rehash it, you had 5 votes before Councilman Dickinson resigned. You guys, with your 5 votes, 5-4, you made our city manager position to be open without having anybody right away to fill it. Then you spent 18 months not pulling a trigger when you brought it down to 2 finalists. I voted, if you remember, against paying $28,000 to this firm. I was not in favor of it. So no, I'm not participating in that manner. That was your vote. You were the affirmative, I wasn't.
So it'd be okay with you for us to move forward on,
If we could
have enough votes.
let's stay focused on
Sure,
this, because
sure.
I have questions about
If you can get the 5 votes, right?
So you're telling us that you, as a Joliet City Councilman on your own, paid for a downtown Chicago law firm to give you an opinion that you wanted to contradict our city attorney?
not to contradict her, potentially agree with her.
Okay, did you speak to anyone before you did this?
Only in that I asked Sabrina for an opinion.
Well, you wanted a written opinion. Did you show her written opinion to your law firm that you paid for?
I just got this at 5:30 or whatever time this is.
And if I can just clarify, the question that I was asked via voicemail was a
Can you
little
make
bit.
sure you're talking to the microphone,
Sorry,
please?
the question that I was asked via voicemail was different than what's the opinion that's in here. So I'm not prepared to give this opinion because this is a different question than what I was asked earlier today. So I can provide my opinion based on this issue.
I
because
gotta be
that's not
frank,
what I was
this
asked.
is bizarre.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what your intent was. If it was to get to the bottom of this isn't the right way to do it. There are conflicting statutes. Our ordinance is incomplete. It needs to be addressed, and we will do that when we have a full council. But to go off on your own, to go rogue, hire your own personal law firm to issue an opinion that backs up your point of view, it's not the way we operate.
That's your opinion?
It is my
I can
opinion.
ask for counsel, as a citizen or a council person, I can ask for an opinion anytime I would like to.
Yeah, it's not the way we operate.
Well, I have several more questions because like I said, I don't want to reject it out of hand. Know nothing about the law firm. Their name is Klein, Thorpe, and Jenkins LTD, located in Chicago on 20 North Wacker Drive. Councilman Mudrin, have you gotten opinions on municipal law from them in the past?
No,
Then who referred you to them?
no one.
No one. Okay. Let's be transparent here, please.
I have acquaintance, Larry.
Okay.
I went to college, know people.
Okay, Pat. Bob, that's all I have.
Okay. Mike, yes?
Sabrina, the 60-day rule, is that something we adopted or went into effect?
So that's something that's in our ordinance as well as the state
Has
statute.
that been in there like forever?
Pardon?
Has that been in there like forever?
From what I can tell, it was the date of of our ordinance is 2015. However, it's been in the state statute from the beginning.
For how long?
From when it was originally passed.
Okay. Because I know and back in 1986, a long time ago, Councilman Jack Weber ran for county treasurer. He was successful and resigned his at-large position in December of '86. And the council at that time left the seat open until the next election. And I had to run at that time in '87 for the 2-year unexpired term. And so when the mayor and the 5 districts was up, I was running for the 2-year unexpired term. So there was actually 7 of the 9 up for election at that time, so.
And there is a provision within the statute, I don't have it offhand, off the top of my head, the actual citation for it, but there is a determination as to the time frame in terms of how many months, how many days there are between now and the election.
Okay.
Which would change that time period.
Okay.
If I could add to that too, I think the reason for that is obvious. It wouldn't necessarily be fair to appoint someone who's looking to run, much like what recently happened in the coroner's race. So I'm sure that's why that's in the statute, to prevent someone from getting a leg up, or from a friend for retiring 2 months early so his buddy could get appointed and run as an incumbent.
Exactly.
But obviously that's not happening here, and that's why I made it clear that I wasn't going to consider appointing someone who was running in the April election, because it wouldn't be fair to the other candidates.
I agree with that. And also, you know, back at that time, they didn't, to my knowledge, did not accept any applications for appointments. You know, they just said, we're leaving it open, and they went until April. So.
Mayor?
Yes.
I have just a general question for all of us. Are we here tonight to consider Mr. Wooten a former Marine who served our country honorably, a former fireman who served our community honorably up to the level of captain? Are we here to consider him and vote yes or no, up and down? Or it seems we've shifted our focus to finding a way not to appoint. We're looking for a way not to appoint. Why? We're not discussing Mr. Wooten anymore. We're discussing a way not to appoint, not to have, an appointment or a vote. That's what we're discussing now.
This wasn't to stop the vote of Mr. Wooten. This was just another opinion out there. Are our ordinances correct? Is this the way we should be doing it? Should we, as a full council, be nominating somebody or meeting in closed session to talk about candidates, to bring them out to vote on them?
Well, and I will add to that. Again, I could go off of, I can read, and the ordinance says the mayor makes the appointment. So that's our ordinance. But beyond that, again, for Don Fisher or Betty Gavin or Brooke Hernandez Brewer, well, Brewer was my pick. But for Don Fisher and Betty Gavin, Mayor Girani didn't ask me. Betty, I wasn't consulted. Your name was brought forward to the council. You were vetted and you were approved. And that's the way it was for Don Fisher also. And it was when I appointed Brooke Hernandez Brewer. I believe it was a unanimous vote. It was around this time frame that Councilman McFarland quit. So I'm scratching my head too as to why this is different and why it's being handled different. I don't.
Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Yes, I just want to say about my appointment, Mayor Girani held a town hall meeting that collected resumes. That's where I submitted my resume, and then was called in from there. So I don't know if any other procedure went like that. I think that was like a year into the seat before the next election. But I do remember him having a town hall meeting explaining to the residents the procedure and asking the residents for resumes. So that's how my appointment came about.
Thank you. And I'll just follow up that obviously, number one, yours was for a district. This is a citywide seat. And number two, we can't do town halls during COVID. So, but having said that, I've had a number of people reach out to me who are interested in the position. Like I said, I gave my reasons for choosing Mr. Wooten. And but we've got our legal opinion. Again, I don't know if we're debating that or if we're debating the appointment. I'm not sure what we're right now.
Mayor, I'm going to be blunt, polite but blunt. There's some here that really apparently are finding a way not to fill it, to short the people of Joliet. And there's nobody watching that's going to believe anything other than what it is, political nonsense. People are tired of it. We've all gotten the same emails and more.
Well, the ordinance says it has to be filled within 60 days. It's going to be filled one way or the other within 60 days. So hopefully we fill it tonight, but unless there's more comments.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I was concerned about the 60 days in reading this, because if we don't need to fill it within 60 days, and we're 4 months away, literally,
Sure,
I'd rather-
reading what? What are you referring to?
what we just had here. So I'm thinking if our ordinance, especially this last section, but let me finish saying what I was saying. If we do not need to fill it within 60 days, being subject to our ordinance not being corrected that way, I would think 4 months and letting the people of Joliet decide who they want it to be, whether it be whoever it is of the people that are running for the office. As Mr. Wooten said, I know we have important things coming up, but you're not going to learn about all the water issues in 1 month or a couple weeks. We have been doing this for 2 years or more, and it is very intricate. It's very intense. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot that we've learned about, we've discussed. I think that the people that are currently a part of the council are the most qualified people to make those very important decisions that we have coming up. So that being said, if you could look at this last page and tell me where it says the city ordinance or the city Joliet City Code of Ordinances provides for an appointment by the mayor with advice and consent from city council of a person to fill the vacancy. In our opinion, the above cited section of the Illinois Municipal Code controls over that city ordinance. Is that saying that the Illinois Municipal Code trumps our ordinance?
That is what they're saying. That's correct.
And otherwise, the city code provision removes the appointment power of the city council as set forth in section 5-2-12 of the municipal code and gives such power to the mayor. This is our opinion in a change in the form of government which can only be accomplished by referendum as mandated by section 6, article 7 of the Illinois Constitution. So we would have to have a change in the Constitution in order for that to happen.
According to their legal opinion.
According to their
I have not
that's
had-
what I'm saying,
yeah,
according
I
to their
haven't had
opinion.
an opportunity to analyze that,
No,
but
no, I
according
know.
to what this says, that's your understanding is correct.
So then, if we aren't, mandated by 60 days, I think it makes sense to let us who have been involved in all this.
You're
Mandated by
still
60 days. Where are you getting this?
The state statute would still mandate the 60 days.
Right, because you were presenting a piece of paper that trumps the attorney that's standing in front of you? This doesn't make any sense.
I'd like her to look at it closely and
Mayor?
I can
Yes.
send something out.
Look, I really thought we had the opportunity here to approach this objectively and logically and not play political games, and hopefully we still can. Councilwoman, if I understand you correctly, not to say that I would disagree, Councilwoman Raridan, is that there's certain decisions that are large decisions, water, North Point, things that have been mentioned. There's large decisions that affect the city in large ways, and that somebody in a matter of weeks or even a couple of months really can't get up to speed to have a qualified vote. If I recall, within 3 weeks after you were elected, you voted on a history you were unfamiliar with to fire Marty Shanahan. So it seems like you've set a double standard there. That's a huge decision, to fire a city manager when you have no one in the wings to fill it. So again, people smell what's going on. They see what's going on. Let's approach this logically with the good of the citizens of Joliet in our minds. Put aside the politics. Quit coming up with reasons to say no or to delay and say no. Come up with reasons to say yes to our citizens.
Well, and I'm maybe wrap it up on this, but first of all, it's not 4 months. Whoever is elected won't be sworn into May, so you're talking another half a year with an imbalanced council. It's not full, so there's absolutely no reason not to fill that seat. And I guess, I'm gonna be polite and maybe stop there, but you talked about the people of Joliet and how electors should fill well, they will fill that seat, but the people of Joliet voted for me to be the mayor, whether you like it or not, Councilwoman Reardon, and part of my jobs as the mayor, as is outlined in the ordinance, is to make appointments when necessary. Just like Mayor Girani and Mayor Schultz and every mayor before me. So thank you, Councilman Mudron, for having the downtown law firm tell us that how we do business in Joliet is wrong. I disagree, our corporate counsel disagrees. Councilwoman Reardon, I don't know how you could have read this document in the 3 minutes that it was presented to you, but apparently you have. But
apparently I have.
yeah, but again, I would remind you that home rule would, that ability would trump, the local ordinance would trump a conflicting state statute. That's what that means. Maybe you could call your lawyer's friends back on Wacker Drive and they could explain home rule to you. So with that, unless there's any other comments, I'll call the question, we can move forward.
So, yeah, I do have one
Okay.
other thing. So I know someone said it wasn't about, Mr. Wooten, but it is in a sense. And I think Larry, was saying we was moved from Mr. Wooten to this other thing, but that's just to, not to, select him to sit on this council. And so we move forward with the council the way it is, and we get to some issues, and and I'm just saying, and I don't know, I don't have a crystal ball, it's just a 4-4 vote. So what do we do then?
The work doesn't get done.
It don't get done.
Right.
So the city.
It's on hold.
Until an election of someone is seated in May, and then what happens if it's somebody that somebody don't like? What are they gonna do then?
Well, maybe the Wacker Drive attorneys will have a new opinion to tell us that our elections were fraudulent or something. I don't know. Not sure what you guys
I
think.
mean, it's just, it is what it is, I mean, this is the first time I saw Mr. Wooten in I don't know how long. I mean, I didn't call him. I mean, I don't know what his likes or dislikes is, what he wants to do. It does not matter to me. We get here, we work together like I've tried to work with everybody here over the several years. It's just, I mean, I don't know if he like Marty or don't like Marty or like North Point or don't like North Point. I didn't call him and ask him, and it just get what's best for the city of Joliet. And I don't think that's the best thing to do is to lead this council with 8 members on the council when we have things to do. I knew it was gonna go left. I just didn't know how.
Well,
This is crazy.
I would agree with you, Councilman Morris. We have a tremendous candidate. We have a tremendous African-American candidate who has served this country, who has served this city, who has got the utmost in integrity. He's not Mother Teresa or Gandhi, but they're both dead. Okay, so we can't hire them. All right?
If they don't like Marty or they don't like North Point, they wouldn't get hired.
There you go. And remember, you did not ask, and I did not ask about where he stood on issues. My only question to him about issues was what's the process that you make decisions? Which I think is important for us to know. Do you flip a coin, right? How do you make your decisions? He addressed that. He's got an impeccable background. He'd be a great bridge to May, which is 5 months away.
Any other comments, or can we call the question?
Is there a motion to appoint Todd Wooten to the position of councilman at large?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug,
Aye?
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
No.
Councilwoman Quillman,
I just have one other comment to make. I did not know who Mr. Wood was. I just heard that, I heard like everybody else, I heard on the radio that was going to be the appointment. And I took it upon myself, and Krista can vouch for this. I called Krista yesterday to get his number on my own because I didn't want to vote for someone I didn't know anything about. So just for the record, anyone on this council could have called him had they wanted to know what this man was and was about before just coming in here and once again blindsiding the council. So I think he's an upstanding man, and of course, we all have mistakes, we all have skeletons in the past, but what does that matter right now? You keep saying you want to move forward, but no one's moving forward. We keep getting stuck. And I think you're making the wrong decision, but I have to vote yes. Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
No.
Councilman Turk,
No.
Councilwoman Gavin.
No.
The vote is 3-4. Motion
Hey,
fails.
Krista, because we're imbalanced, if it comes down to that, I should, I'll vote aye, obviously, but that would make it a 4-4
Yeah.
vote.
Yes, with his aye vote, it's 4-4.
And that's why we need a ninth member of this council.
Hey, Mayor, as long as he's willing to, I would like to invite Mr. Neck in. I would like to thank him. I would like to apologize. And I would like the people that just did something very, very political to him, look in my eye.
I don't think they will. And I don't want to embarrass him anymore. I do apologize to Mr. Wooten. Thank you for putting yourself out and trying to serve your community. And that's all there is to say at this point.
This is really going to encourage a lot of good people to serve our community, isn't it?
I will add, though, Pat, you can call whatever law firm you want. We're going to follow our ordinances, and we're going to follow the advice of our attorneys. So I will make another appointment. There is a budget meeting on Monday. I will put it on the agenda. There'll be another appointment. I'm going to keep making those appointments through the rest of the 60 days until we get someone in here to do the job. So.
Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items, registered to be called to speak. We do have one individual here to speak on citizens to be heard on an agenda item, Jerry Hervey.
How y'all doing, council, mayor? Is the mic on?
Yes,
It doesn't sound like, it sounds very low.
you speak loud, but I think it's on.
So I was initially here to speak up on the Todd Wooten election, on his appointment. But I mean, you guys made y'all decision, but what we missed was an opportunity to make history. This would have been the first time in the history of the city of Joliet that we had 3 African Americans appointed to the city council. You know, he was a man, this was a man who served his country. He served the city of Joliet in the fire department. He served the state of Illinois. It certainly would have hurt to let him serve for 6 months in this seat. He wasn't going to run again. So, I mean, I'm trying to understand how you go into all of these things about him making comments about the police chief, and you never asked him a single question about his job duty as a firefighter, what he done in the military, none of the stuff that mattered. And here we are, yet again, Betty, with you in something that you have a lot of explaining to do to the black community for this decision that you made. And trust and believe, this is not the end of it. Because I don't even know if y'all take me serious. But before this is over, a lot of you will end up in federal prison. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Next is council committee reports. First is, and the only one, is Public Service Committee.
All right, give me one moment here. I was slightly distracted the last few minutes. Terry. All right. The Public Service Committee met yesterday at 4:30 here in the council chambers. In attendance were the 3 committee members, which is Councilman Morris, Councilwoman Gavin, and myself. Also in attendance was the Director of Public Works, Jim Trisna, and the Director of Public Utilities, Allison Swisher. We had a very short agenda. Again, it was another routine agenda. And let me bring it up. Yesterday, City Manager Jim Hawk explained that there was award of contract for the new multimodal train station, bid package for the turnaround, the bus station and turnaround to Madison Construction Company in the amount of $8,873,347. So that's good news. The bid came in lower than the grant amount, so the grant amount will cover any change orders that may occur, like they do oftentimes in any construction project. And it is our understanding that once we're finished and it's all tied up with a nice bow and finished and we cut the ribbon, that any money that's left over will return to the state. Correct, Jim? Correct. That's our understanding. Then we looked at 3 other contracts. One had to do with the corrosion study so that we of course, are in the process of connecting to help out the community. For Lockport Township, they aren't residents, but we did this a year and a half ago. So we have to do a corrosion study for the $50,000 corrosion study. Again, much of, if not all of what we call the cost of hookup is being paid by the county. So they can transfer to our water. That saved a lot of folks that were middle income and low income households in that community from going to a private contractor that would have, certainly been 3 or 4 times higher in their water rates. And, what family can afford that? Again, Jim did mention yesterday, it was good news that last year we paid over $95 a ton for salt. This year we got the lowest rate, I think, since I joined the council in 2011. So we went into a contract for 10,000 tons at $46.93 per ton. That's very, very low. So we looked at the contracts. We looked at 3 change orders and pay estimates. Nothing out of the ordinary on that either. And the only ordinance and resolution we considered was housekeeping to make sure that we release funds from the motor fuel tax as required by law by vote for the Guernsey Avenue over the Spring Creek Improvement Project that's been ongoing. So having looked at all the items on there and discussed them and vetting them, all of them now appear on our agenda tonight, and all of them received a unanimous 3-0 vote for recommendation from our Public Service Committee to the full council for recommendation. And I think I covered everything. Did I, Terry?
Yes, sir.
Betty, anything to add?
No, Larry, I think you covered everything. Thank you.
With that said, that would be the report, Mayor.
Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes, it's recommended the minutes of the combined council meeting held on November 2nd, 2020, the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on November 16th, 2020, and the minutes of the council meeting held on November 17th, 2020, stand approved as recorded. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on, under ordinances, Council Memo 624-20, an ordinance approving a vacation of an approximate 12 by 84-foot portion of a public alley south of 418 Madeline Street, south of 127 Pleasant Street, and north of 129 Pleasant Street. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
and Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 625-20, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a public museum located at 1314 Elizabeth Street. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
I support this very much. I know they all worked hard on it, but I will have to recuse myself.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 626-20, ordinances associated with Cobalt Commercial Subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving the preliminary plat, an ordinance approving the final plat, and an ordinance approving the recording plat of Cobalt Commercial Subdivision. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Before we get started on this next one, could Mr. Hanson, the attorney for the developers, come in? We have been working to try to really buffer these homes, and they've had a little more development.
She has the floor, yes.
Thank you, Reardon. We did meet this afternoon at the site. Mr. McHenry, the owner, was there. Mr. McHenry is going to install two 20-foot large evergreens right in front of the individual's house, Mr. Gerbelter, who's right here right now. There is a gap there, so we're going to take care of that, whether they get put in December this month or the spring. We'll talk with him, we'll work with him, and remedy this situation, so.
Thank you.
And I know we spoke in the hallway, Mr. Gilberto, is this acceptable?
Less than we asked for, but that's.
Please speak in the mic, please.
It is less than what we asked for, but it is acceptable. It is what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, thanks for going back to your client. I know I asked you last night.
Thank you. We'd like to try and please the council and the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 627-20, ordinances associated with Gas and Wash Theodore and Droughton subdivision?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye?
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Is that in writing, that change to the ordinance to accommodate that gentleman? Or is this just a verbal
Well, it's on the record.
agreement?
It's on the record here.
It's on- well, okay, just want to make sure. I'll vote aye then.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 629-20 is a resolution approving a professional services agreement with the Lakota Group for the development of a historic building design and resource manual. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye?
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
I'll vote aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 630-20 is a resolution appropriating funds for the Phase 2 engineering services for the Garnsey Avenue over Spring Creek Improvement Project in the amount of $35,373.95. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon. Aye. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye?
Motion carried. Council Memo 631-20 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a paratransit local share agreement with PACE and to apply for grant funds available under Title 20 of the Social Security Act. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye?
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is award of contracts. Council Memo 633-20, award a contract for the Joliet Multimodal Regional Transportation Center Bid Package 1B, bus station and turnaround to Madison Construction Company in the amount of $8,873,347. Council Memo 634-20, approve the 2020-2021 rock salt purchase contract with the state of Illinois and Cargill to purchase bulk rock salt at a unit price of $46.93 per ton. Council Memo 635-20, approve a professional services agreement for the Lockport Township Water System Corrosion Study to Cornwell Engineering Group in an amount not to exceed $50,000. And Council Memo 636-20, approve a professional services agreement for pre-treatment program assistance 2021 to Baxter and Woodman in an amount not to exceed $119,740. It's recommended Council Memos 633-20 through 636-20 be approved.
So moved.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye?
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is amendments, change orders, and payments. Council Memo 638-20, amendment number 2 for the Phase 2 engineering services for the Garnsey Avenue over Spring Creek Improvement Project to Willett Hoffman and Associates in the amount of $35,373.95. Council Memo 639-20, change order number 1 for NPDES Analytical Testing Services 2020 to Suburban Laboratories in an amount of $18,120. Council Memo 640-20, change order number 1 for the 2020 aluminum sulfate solution purchase to use Salco LLC in an amount of $53,587.24. It's recommended Council Memos 638-20 through 640-20 be approved.
So moved.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye?
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Next is the city manager's report.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. T.Y. Lin was the engineering company that the city hired to manage the Gateway Center project. And today they were honored by the American Council for Engineering Companies and won their 2020 Engineering Award. So that's not only a feather in their cap, but also ours for being recognized at the national level for the construction of the Gateway Center. The only other thing is as you know, we will have a budget presentation next week, Monday on the 7th, and I anticipate that you'll be able to adopt the budget on the 15th of December. So this evening, I need a motion so that we can meet our publication deadlines to schedule the budget public hearing for December 14th as part of the pre-council meeting.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
And motion and seconded to schedule a public hearing for December 14th, 2020 for the budget. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye?
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye. I have a question. What happened to the 7th?
The 7th will be the presentation
Oh, the
of the budget.
presentation, and then, okay.
But the public hearing we're required to have annually will be a week later on the 14th.
Okay, right, that's a regular meeting, okay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye. I also have a question for the 7th. I don't know if you sent out a late email or did you decide on the time yet?
It'll probably, we plan on 5:30,
Okay, thank you.
and the notice should get out probably tomorrow.
Next is new business, not for final action or recommendation.
New business?
No.
Jim?
No.
Mike?
No.
Pat? No. Sherry?
No.
Betty?
No.
Larry?
Yeah. I really came here hopeful tonight that we would move past politics and fulfill it, and we didn't. It didn't happen. The politics rained down on us again. I just have to say again, I apologize to not just Mr. Wooten, citizen Wooten, resident Wooten, for having to go through the meat grinder known as the Joliet City Council with the political games that are played. He had a tremendous background, would have been, a good temporary addition. I've seen it all now. I've seen a council member who apparently, without coaching somebody else, located a firm downtown that specializes and paid out of his own pocket. I heard another council member say that the Joliet citizens, in this case Mr. Wooten, aren't smart enough to get up to speed to take big votes when she herself took a big vote less than a month after she got elected. So apparently she feels she's smarter than the rest of the citizens. This nonsense has got to stop, and it's got to stop today. With those comments, what is our next step? Do you need to appoint somebody, bring another appointment forward, Mayor? What is our next step?
Yes, I will. Again, a number of people had expressed interest in being appointed. So I will, again, I was gonna call a special meeting on Friday, but because we have a meeting on Monday, we'll do it at the budget meeting on Monday. We'll have this on the agenda to vote.
Okay, and so I'm not finishing my comments. So all I'm gonna say is, nobody up here should think they've walked away fooling the very intelligent group known as Joliet citizens. Your flimsy excuses for delaying, your flimsy excuses for somewhat embarrassing Mr. Wooten, that's going to scare away other very good residents. There's a lot of good, smart residents out there. It's not lost on them, guys. Stop it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Next is public comments. No one registered to be called to speak. We have one individual here, Jerry Hervey. He'll pass this evening, so no public comments.
Okay.
Next is mayor and council comments.
Terry?
Yeah, I've waited to hear. So, Mr. Mayor, you said you're gonna, come forth with another name. You would let everyone know, I guess.
Yeah.
Mike was.
Yeah, and of course, if you have questions, please call my office. I can't read minds, but I will help anyone who needs this help.
And then my second point to that is that, and maybe that's not what I think what Mr. Mudrin is asking. I think he wants the council to pick somebody. So, because we're gonna go through this again Monday. The mayor gonna get someone to come up here. They're gonna get drilled about who they like and what they don't like, and then still get voted down. Or, I mean, look, it sounds like Mr. Mudrin wants to pick someone.
I don't know what he wants, but what I did is what John Mesra, Tom Thanis, Art Schultz, Tom Girani, other councils, this council had done previously. We voted on this 4 years ago with Brooke Hernandez Brewer. So if you want to change the ordinance, there's a process for doing that. We're going to follow the process that's in place and that we've always followed in Joliet. It shouldn't be an argument or a controversy. Apparently, if you believe Councilman Mudrin, everybody before me has been wrong. And I'm wrong for following the same practice we've always done, including the practice that got Councilwoman Gavin put on the council. I don't remember anyone hiring Chicago law firms to tell us that we couldn't do that. So.
But I just don't, me, I mean, I have all the time in the world to sit here, but I don't like to sit here when I really, and to come back Monday and go through this again makes no sense, absolutely no sense. So if that is what that they want to do, then we need to figure something out, because it's just going to end up a 4-4 vote, probably. I don't know. I can't speak for Larry or anybody else here how they're going to vote, but it just, to me, seems like they don't want you to pick nobody.
That's the problem. It does seem that way, but maybe I'm wrong.
And I mean, and let's just be real, because, it's Monday night football. We could be doing a lot of other stuff than to go through that again. Because whoever the mayor pick, if he's not gonna, or she not gonna get the support from you all, we need to figure something out. It's not, this ain't rocket science, So that's my comment, if that's a comment to my fellow council people, what we're gonna do about this, because we need another person. So we won't have, that's why we have 9 people on the council.
Larry?
Councilman Morris, Mayor, I don't know why you guys are discussing it. It's very obvious to anybody with a 5th grade education what happened tonight. It's obvious what happened. It's likely it will happen again.
So you don't have to go to college?
No, you don't. You don't have to go to college to do it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Who certain, I suppose if you want an answer whether they predetermined not to vote for anybody that the mayor puts forward, you have to give them a chance to go talk, some of them at least, to go talk to the coaches that are coaching them from the wings on what, procedures and all this. It blows my mind that you would hire a law firm nobody's never heard of. That just blows my mind. So, of course, it's a game. It's a game that's hurting the city. It's a game that started 3 or 4 weeks after Councilwoman Reardon was sworn in. It's a game that continues for over 18 months now. It's a game. But the lives of the citizens of Joliet is not a damn game. Shorting them for your personal agenda, shorting them because certain black hands tell you what to do, this is disgusting. Thoroughly. It's not serving the people like we swore. It's not. I don't know that it will ever stop until the election in April, apparently. So you can ask the questions. It's a square peg, round hole type concept. Don't try to fit a square peg into a round hole. Let's be polite. Let's be civil. But a game was played tonight. A game was played on Mr. Wooten. A game was played on this council. And a game was played on each and every one of our 150,000 plus residents. And it's a game that everybody lost except for apparently 4 people.
Yeah.
Oh, this is old business. Last night, Mr. Allman was here, with some pictures of flooding, and he gave the pictures to you. Jim, did you happen to get a chance to look at that yet?
No, I didn't, but I had a discussion with Public Works Director and some staff about it, and they're familiar with it, and we will send somebody out there to take a look at the site personally.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to follow up because he kind of got lost there at the end, so I wanted to make sure that we were doing a follow-up for him. That's all I have, and I have no other comments. I have a lot of comments, but I'll just refrain.
Mike?
Nothing.
Yeah. Sherry?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you to Councilman Dickinson for his service and devotion to this council and the city. He was a great councilman, and he will be missed, and I just want to wish him all the best.
Eddie?
Yes, I want to say ditto to Councilwoman Reardon's comment. I had that wrote down as well. Councilman Dickinson, we pray God's peace and blessings for you. I know your passion for this city. And the residents are certainly miss you as being their at-large council person. And so thank you again, sir, for your service.
Okay, number one, on November 21st, there was an honorary street name for Reverend Hamilton for the St. James Community Church of God at 415 Parks. I was there. Congratulations to Reverend Hamilton and his family. Number two, we talked a little bit about the water issue tonight. There are 2 live meetings that are going to be held virtually that are open to the public. Tomorrow, December 2nd, from 1 o'clock to 2:30 p.m. And Thursday, December 3rd, from 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. These are online events that you can get to if you go to rethinkwaterjoliet.org. It's rethinkwaterjoliet.org. You can also leave comments. There'll be an online virtual event which runs from November 30th through December 14th. You can leave your comment to the council. That will be made part of the record. We can't obviously have these large public forums that we had in the past or town hall meetings, but this is a way we can encourage all our residents to get involved. So please, this is a big decision, and I know I want to hear from you. I think the rest of the council wants to hear from the public also. So please, if you have a chance, participate online. Friday, we are going to do the annual Christmas tree lighting. Normally it happens to kick off the holiday parade. Obviously, we couldn't do that this year. The event will be covered on Channel 6 TV and I think possibly local radio. So that'll be Friday evening, prior to the budget meeting. And then there is an announcement we're going to make in the coming days for our young children, for Santa Claus. And word is he is going to be in Joliet this year. He couldn't come to the parade, obviously, because of COVID. We couldn't have the parade, but Santa Claus is going to be here and accessible to the children of Joliet. So I'm looking forward to this announcement. We're working with staff and Councilwoman Quillman on getting this done. So hopefully in the next few days, we're going to be pushing this out, but an exciting thing for the holidays. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.